Serious, what secret could destroy your life if it got out? I failed out of college after 2 years because I was lazy and I was drunk all the time. I then joined the Air Force and was kicked out because of a heart disease I didn't know about. I think about killing myself at least once a week. My fiance of 4 years broke up with me and I was so apathetic it didn't bother me. I just calmly collected my stuff and moved out. I can't sleep for more than 3 hours a day anymore. I'm not sure if I'm depressed or not. I just get up and go to work, then come home. I don't drink anymore, but I smoke almost a pack a day. I just turned 22, and according to a few doctors I'll be lucky to see 30. 40 will be a miracle not explainable by science. I'm going back to college in the fall, so at least before I go my family won't think I'm a total failure. Writing this actually made me cry. This is the first emotion I've had in almost a year. Thank you Reddit for letting me know I can still feel something. No one knows about my heart besides my doctor. Thankfully I don't have to disclose my condition to my employer or family unless I deem it necessary or I want to. To clarify, my heart continues to grow. It may never stop growing. This causes extra stress, like bruising and swelling. I work out at a gym 4-5 days a week, and I run 2 miles a day. My best option is to condition my body to be in the best shape it possibly can. This will lead to a slower resting and active heart rate. I do smoke, and I know what it will do to me. For now it's my crutch. First step to fixing a problem is admitting you have one, right? Also I may think about killing myself, but that is a momentary feeling. Not because I am sad, but because I wonder if it would make things easier on the people in my life. I have plans and goals, but some things I have to let go of because time. I live my life as if I will live to be 100. I don't focus on the timeline I was given because there is no point in self-pity. I hope it all works out for you and you find true happiness. I've been living in my head for more than 30 years. As a child, I made some kind of fantasy world to escape from my miserable childhood and I never fully returned to the real world. I never got a proper education, since I can't concentrate more than a couple of hours before I get distracted and return to my other reality, and I have lost several jobs because I'm not paying attention. I don't have any kind of social life and generally prefer to just sit in the dark and dream my life away. Turn that ability into a writing career. Might be a fun way to escape to your other reality. My sister was physically shamed and assaulted by my cousin when we were all young. That came out and it took years to get over it all, and now we are on a level ground again. The thing that nobody knows is that he physically shamed and assaulted me as well. Nobody can know as it will tear apart my family. Every single day I think about killing myself. How great it would be. All my problems gone in an instant. Now, I am in therapy for depression, but I don't share those thoughts for fear of being institutionalized, even briefly, as a danger to myself. I don't think I'm a danger to myself. I've had those thoughts for quite a while without swallowing pills or a shotgun, so. Okay, so I cry just about every night because of my financial standings. I feel like a failure. I work as a line cook making minimum wage and hardly have any money for groceries or for anything personal in my life. I've gone hungry. I've gone without power water. I most of the times feel like my life is worthless. They say money can't buy happiness, but I can freaking guarantee that if I had some I wouldn't feel the way I do most nights when I lay down. I'm not here to ask for pity or money, just answering the question honestly. I used to crap my pants until I was like 13. I had no control of my bowels. My mother knew, but that was about it. I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if my fellow students found out. My first girlfriend was really the love of my life. She was the only person that was ever able to finish my sentences, and we bonded over sort of a mutual disdain for the world we lived in. I knew her psyche was fragile and I literally gave her a reason to live while she was institutionalized. We broke up and she committed suicide. Or at least that's what I tell people. In reality, I cheated on her and she destroyed herself. She burned holes through her skin hundreds of times, sliced dozens of cuts through her body and face, and threw herself off a bridge. I can't even imagine what someone will think if I ever said those things. I've only told a couple people that it even happened, but as far as the details, I probably should do so, but I just can't face that. A rational response to cheating is not burning yourself and committing suicide. She may have even done it sooner if she hadn't have met you. Please don't blame yourself. When I was about 13, I was discovering my physical orientation and masturbating every day to twice a day. I was so curious about having my dong being touched by someone else that one day I asked my little brother, who was 9 years old. It was kinda awkward. He didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know it was so wrong and so creepy. I remember every little detail of the shameful moment. My CM dripping on my little brother's hand. I wasn't attracted by my little brother, I was just curious about getting a handy by someone else, and he was the only person which could accept to do it. It happened only one time. We never spoke about it. Now I'm 21 and he's 17. We have a wonderful relationship. He's my best friend. We laugh every time we see each other. I think maybe it would be good to get it off my chest, and maybe his too, and tell him that I don't want to ruin what we have now. I don't want him to see me as an abusive big brother or even think I might be. It was a child mistake. I didn't know. I sincerely hope he doesn't remember a thing. I'm in middle of a divorce and the only way I've survived taking care of myself and my daughter is prostituting myself this last year. My family would completely disown me if they knew. My ex barely helps as it is. If he knew I had any sort of money, he would use it as a reason to help me even less. Well, here goes. Well, when I was younger I had a friend, let's call her Amanda. Well, we were at a park and across the street there was a building planned for demolition. Anyway, the genius in me had a great idea to go in it and check it out. As we were exploring, the floor caved and she fell down 2 stories and landed on some debris and was injured. While I caught myself on the first floor, she didn't make it past the first day in the hospital. I'm still haunted by the screams and the begging. Every year I have a little memorial to myself. I still blame myself for killing her. It doesn't get any easier as more time passes by. After this I slowly started to dull out feelings. Now I can't seem to care at all. It's caused me to try and kill myself multiple times, and every time I tell my friends they don't actually believe that I tried. They all ignore that and say to stop joking about that stuff, but they'll never know the truth. One day I hope she will forgive me. I had a 2-year-long drug-induced psychotic episode where I thought God was talking to me on a daily basis through the numbers. I seemed like a completely normal, well put together, successful person. I snapped out of it recently. I don't want everyone to think I'm crazy or need help. I figured things out on my own. How I really feel about myself. It would lead to both people being driven away from me and people empathizing for me. I would hate the people who stayed with me, probably yell at them, drive them away. Then I would be alone and have nothing to live for. So, for now, I put on my facade and move on. I don't really know what to say, but I get it. My twin sister and I love each other. We love each other more than siblings should. I'm sure the incest would disgust a lot of people, and that alone would ruin a lot of relationships. Our parents and grandparents would probably disown and disinherit us. Other family would probably break off contact, and we lose a good chunk of our friends. I imagine news would spread like wildfire amongst our social circle. Our older sister might be the only person in our family who wouldn't outright condemn us, and I'm not even too sure about that. Sometimes we think about running away to Europe or something, so we can start new lives with fake identities. Anyone asking? We're fraternal twins, and I'm a male. Well, you win. I have the same deal going on with my cousin, but yours is a little closer to home. Plus you see each other all the time. That must be rough. At least we live in different states. It is hard, but we have basically come to terms that sneaking around is the best we will ever get, because our family would disown us if it ever went public. This one really would destroy my life. I have suicidal ideation fairly frequently. I'm terrified of death and would never actually kill myself, but I fantasize about killing myself a lot, especially when I'm stressed or tired or PMSing. I've mentally composed more suicide notes than I can possibly imagine. If I ever tell a doctor about it, my life as a free unmedicated woman is over. I'm terrified of mental hospitals and of psychiatric medication. I never told anyone about how I feel. A doctor would instantly confine me to a mental hospital, and a friend or family member would either panic or just think I'm some sort of drama queen. I believe in aliens. Like, to an insane degree. I used to attempt to summon them in an effort to be abducted. I've spent countless hours and night upon sleepless night looking up abduction videos and the like online. Every time I think about aliens I get this adrenaline rush and feel so alive with the thought of hyper-intelligent, spiritually advanced, telepathically inclined beings. I dream of being abducted, or to at least come into contact with extraterrestrials. I guess this wouldn't necessarily destroy my life, per se, but my family is extremely religious and anything of this nature is a big no-no to them. Plus if anyone realized how much time and energy I've invested into this I'm pretty sure they would think I'm a nut job and stop being friends with me. I think about killing myself almost daily. Everyone thinks I'm the happiest, most outgoing person. In reality, I go home, harm myself, and then drink myself to sleep. I have the world convinced I'm doing fine. I have an appointment next week to see a psychiatrist and discuss treatment options. I still haven't opened up to anyone, but hopefully therapy will help with that. That I want to see my mother die. I love her to death, but she is such a C to her family, her friends, and to society in general, and I can't stand it. She is almost to the point of abusive to her family, calling all of us retarded, wish she did not even birth me or my brother, etc. She is also a raging alcoholic that everyone seems to just sweep under the rug and pretend it does not exist. If she were to die, yes it will be heart-wrenching and I will be inconsolable, but a part of me will be glad she is dead. She had open heart surgery this time last year, and although I was worried the whole time that I was going to lose my mother, a part of me wanted her to not come out of that surgery room. The reason this would destroy my life if it got out, is because I would be completely disowned by my whole family and her friends if it got out, to the point of I would have to move out of state to be able to start life anew. Because my mom knows everyone in this town I currently live in and she could easily get me fired from any job just because of who she knows. And she also, as of right now, I am changing this week, she has control of my bank account due to her creating it for me when I was 15. She has control over every facet of my life, and she could frick me hard if my wish for her to die ever got out. When I was 9, I was going to shoot up my school. I planned it for months. I brought all my stepdad's handguns and ammunition, and most assuredly would have gone through with it, but then the girl I liked, who had never talked to me, gave me half of her sandwich at lunch. I later found out it was because it had fallen on the ground, and then someone spat on it before she gave it to me. I frequently regret that I didn't follow through with it. It's interesting how one small act of kindness, though, of course, in this case you only perceived it as such, can make such a huge difference in someone's life. I'm a guy with a foot fetish, and I never told my wife even though she has amazing feet. But it gets worse. I have a weird twist to my foot fetish. I'm really into pedal pumping. I guess that's the closest way to describe it, and I'm mortified to tell her or anyone else, and never have. When I was a little kid we spent a lot of time at church during the week for mom's choir practice and there was a decent looking piano player lady who would kick off her shoes and play the piano barefoot. And even though I knew nothing of my fetish, I remember Saturday afternoons, being up on the stage pulpit during boring choir practice, laying on the carpet, playing with matchbox cars and trying not to make it seem glaringly obvious that I was transfixed watching this lady's barefoot pushing on that piano pedal. I remember having a raging hard on even back then, but more annoyed with it than anything else, and wishing so much that I was at piano pedal, on the floor, her amazing foot pushing and pumping me. I was totally transfixed, and it continues to this day. Women playing pianos, organs, driving barefoot, using a sewing machine barefoot. My fantasies usually always involve me imagining myself as the pedal, and the woman has a hot bare, nylon, or sock-clad foot. If it's a smelly foot even better. I feel guilty and stupid to this day. Why on earth would a fetish like that develop when I was a prepubescent kid? TLDR. I have a pedal pumping foot fetish I've never told my wife, or anyone, about. I have a disability. The internet doesn't know that I'm disabled. I am a developer, followed by up to 500 people on Twitter and nobody ever saw me or listened my voice. I don't want to reveal that because I'm scared it would destroy my reputation. I know, I'm too much negative and I should relax and simply come out. The problem is that, in real life, I am really disadvantaged by my disability. Sorry if my English is a bit wobbly. I'm not a native speaker. I'm sure no one would give a frick if they knew. Look at the American film critic Roger Ebert. He was disabled and people still read his blog and reviews and so on. To all the gay people in this thread, it really does get better. 17 years ago, I could have posted that the secret that could destroy my life was that I was a lesbian. I was 100% sure I'd kill myself if anyone ever found out. I was 100% sure that my parents would be completely destroyed and that my relationship with my parents would be ended. 17 years later, I'm out to everyone I know and getting married later this year. My life remains undestroyed. I was physically shamed by my grandfather from the age of 8, 11 or 12. I had to go there after school every day to be babysat until my parents were done work. I told my mom after about 6 months or so. Her response was, "Don't tell your dad. It would really hurt him. He was my paternal grandfather." I gave up trying to tell anyone else for about a year, and then I told my cousin, who is 4 years older than I am. Her response was anger, and asking me how I could dare to speak out against our grandfather that way. Fast forward to when I was 16. Grandfather had a stroke and was in hospital with pneumonia, was in his hospital bed with oxygen mask on. The whole family, aunts, uncles, etc. went to see him for some reason that I don't recall, and we were all visiting and hanging out. My uncle was in the hall with my little cousin, and at one point called everyone to come see because she was starting to take her first steps. So everyone gathered in the doorway facing out, or in the hall, and I was left sitting beside my grandfather's bed in a chair. He started coughing. I leaned over and took his oxygen mask off. It was so surreal. He was gasping, and my heart was pounding. I was waiting for someone to turn around and see, or hear him, but they were all intent on watching my little cousin, and they were all being so loud. It only took a couple minutes. It felt like hours. I put the mask back on him when I knew he had passed. I waited a couple minutes, and then yelled for my dad to come in because grandpa looked weird. I remember my face was burning hot, thinking holy frig, they have to know. Someone is going to know. No one knows. First post ever that gave me a legit adrenaline rush. Holy crap. I have zero motivation to do anything. I work 40-60 hours a week, and while I'm at work you'd think I don't have a care in the world. I have an amazing boyfriend who loves me unconditionally and would do anything for me, but the feeling is one-sided. I just want to close my eyes and fade away into nothingness. To sleep and never wake up. I would never kill myself, but if someone came up to me with a gun and said they were going to kill me, I would probably thank them. The only thing that brings me happiness is actually very odd. I enjoy laying at the bottom of a pool while it's cloudy outside and just look at the reflection from above. My thoughts are all scattered. I haven't slept in a day or two. I am a judge in a town in the US, and a partner in a law firm. I also have a bit of a fetish. I tell my co-workers, assistants and family that I go up to my cabin most weekends, and that they can't contact me because there's no service, and that's how I like it. Stresses of the jobs. I love to hike, etc. In actuality I see a mistress 20 years my younger. She puts me into all sorts of predicaments, including intense bondage and sensory deprivation for 12-16 hours. Uses my body to let her other clients enjoy me, teases and tortures me, and in general uses me for anything she wants that involves bondage BDSM. And I love it. I have a college-age daughter and an ex-husband, and have a fair share of cash lying around. If anyone knew, it would probably make some waves. TL. Doctor. Weekday judge. Weekend lesbian adult toy. To cut it short, all I want to do is play on my computer, and that's it. I hate needing to drive to the store, go to school, work. I don't want to have a family. I hate the rest of my own, and I don't see any of this changing anytime soon. I do have a life outside of computers, but I'm not sure it's one I'd want to live. I have another entirely happier life behind these screens that nothing can harm me or affect me. It's so much simpler and I love it, but it has brought me to hate real life. I need to get rich. I want to stay home. I hate this world. I'm 27 years old and I have no idea how to make real money. I don't want to work at a supermarket for the rest of my life. This may be weird to a lot of people, but I am borderline obsessed with this imaginary world that I created for a novel that I was once going to write. Today it is almost 3 years ago that I came up with the idea. I won't even try to explain it, and ever since I've been sort of lost thinking about it. A lot of people are going to call bulls, but sometimes when I am not engaging with anyone, I actually have small hallucinations about the world and the characters. It's kind of scary sometimes, and I've convinced myself that it is not a disorder, as I did not have this problem before I began the process of writing. It's mainly auditory. I've yet to have any sort of visual hallucinations. The worst part is I've rewritten the first chapter at least 50 or 60 times and never seem to get it right. I feel that if anyone ever found out, my parents would make me go to an institution. I don't think I am crazy, but I also don't think that this happens to a lot of people. I don't feel special or any bulls like that. I'd prefer if it never happened. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.